Well, what is going on, everybody? Welcome into the Hump Day Hotline. Hump Day Hotline live.
Hump Day.
What's going on, dude? How are you tonight?
What up, man? I'm doing good. How are you?
Well, I'm looking ghostly. Like all of a sudden, there I am.
Yeah,
Like,
that looks perfect. As soon as you
my light is giving me all kinds of trouble. I don't know what's going. I don't know. It's back. Like I got this Halo thing. I'm gonna have to like get up and let you drive or run the show here in a couple minutes. Welcome into the Hump Day Hotline on the Buffalo Fanatics Network with my co-host, and this is now a cross-platform network show being brought to you by Buffalo Fanatics, and I'm joined by my co-host Jay Spencer King, who is now on the Buffalo Rumblings platform.
Yes,
so this is unprecedented stomping grounds that we are in right now. So we did one thing unprecedented that nobody has done before last week, and now we're doing something unprecedented this week. But I'll tell you what, I'm just super thankful to not only the Rumblings folks who I don't know, but to Pierre, Rico, and Bobby just for giving us the opportunity to just stay together and do what we do. And I know the fans, and I've gotten a lot of comments even today, just people excited that we're back together, still together. And just so everybody knows, we are together through the end of this season. So as long as this season goes on, man, why is that light? So as long as this season goes on, we're good. That's so strange. But what do you got to say? What's good, Jay Spence?
Well, no, I mean, I've given my my thank yous and all that stuff a couple times now, but I guess officially we can do it one last time on Hump Day. I do, like you just mentioned, I want to thank Pierre, Rico, and Bobby. Those guys have been fantastic throughout this whole thing with the transition. They're just so everybody knows. I don't know if either of those three guys are in the chat tonight. There are no hard feelings. This is this is a decent thing that's happening. I'm expanding my family, and it's not a bad thing. I'm still a very, very hopefully a good friend with all those guys, and Joe is still my bestie, like we said last week.
Once a fanatic, always a fanatic. Although we did not get the bracelet, so I don't know what that means for us. Like
we didn't, but I've been shopping online, so let's just we'll be patient a tad bit.
Yeah, just a little more patient.
Yeah, I've been shopping.
That's good. So what surprised you today? There were some surprises out there. Were you surprised today?
The biggest surprise wasn't about the Buffalo Bills, but there has been a few surprises for me.
Yeah, and what was the surprise for you?
To me, the biggest one is that there are actually still, from the report, there are 5 teams who are very interested in signing Antonio Brown once his suspension is lifted. That's a surprise.
That's a surprise. I would agree. I would absolutely agree. That's a surprise because I'm thinking I mean, I know it's the Seahawks. Yeah. And the Seahawks are always weird about stuff like that. As far as, man, this light is going to drive me crazy. I'm going to have to get it fixed. Like,
Pete Carroll.
Go ahead.
My bad.
You're fine. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll is like the player's coach. That, like, regardless of what your past is and regardless of what type of reputation you have, like he just loves good players and he wants to bring them. So I could absolutely see him going to Seattle. And I mean, I'm actually scared of the team of. I don't want to see Russ throwing it to AB. I don't.
And DK. So both initial gentlemen. DK to me I was a big. I don't know where you landed. I don't know why we're talking about the Seahawks. I don't know where you landed on DK when he came out, but I did not want the Bills to go after him. So I was kind of relieved when they didn't sign him draft him. And then clearly he has turned into all the pre-draft hype I bought into, as far as him being big, being a specimen, being fast, but not being able to catch. Like, I bought into it. I was like, well, I don't want a guy that can't catch, right? So, and they it's funny how they do that. They float that stuff out there. But yeah, AB, that's a surprise. But I was more leaning towards the Quentin Spain news. But before we get to Quentin Spain and we get to the show, and we had a lot to talk about tonight. You are watching and you are tuned into, whether you are on YouTube, Twitter, or Facebook. You are watching the Hump Day Hotline, brought to you by the Buffalo Fanatics Network, in a cohort, if you will, or a cross-platform collaboration with Buffalo Rumblings. And this is what you got to do. So we're going to do the best we can to pay attention to you guys, to get you to be a part of the show. Here's the switch up tonight. I'm driving, which is not normally. Normally Spence drives the comments. So I'm going to do my best, and I make no promises. I will not miss a super chat. That much I can promise you. If you super chat us, you will get my attention. I'll see it, but I'm going to do the best I can to make sure that you guys are part of the show. With that, We got a new member of the Bing Squad.
Yes,
What's up,
sir.
Soul? Soul just became a YouTube member. Welcome, Soul. We are so thankful for you. Rico, if he was on the show, Rico somewhere is ringing that bell. Ring my
bing, bingity bing is what he would say. My man, Young
Bing.
King said in the comments. That's a Rico all day.
Bing, bingity bing. And for those of you that may not have heard, this is what we're about to talk about, Eric. And I don't know if he's surprised he hadn't heard that. But yes, Quentin Spain was released today. There has not been given a whole lot of information as far as why Quentin Spain was released. I have my own what I would call suspicions. I don't know what the truth is. Clearly, none of us do. I don't know if you've heard it before. I give the floor to you. Hang on a second. No, Judge is not monitoring. It's just me. Oh, my screen just like totally freaked out on me. Judge is not driving. I'm driving. So yeah, we're gonna try not to wreck this car tonight. But so clearly, I don't think it's a play situation. I don't, as much as there's like, well, Quentin Spain was, he wasn't as good as Brian Winters, and anybody that thinks that doesn't watch tape and doesn't watch film, because even for a person that doesn't watch film, if you trust the guys who do, they will tell you that Brian Winters is garbage. Like he is. And I had one person kind of talking to me today on Twitter just about how well they want to run screens, and like Quentin Spain is not a screen type of guard, because guards have to be athletic to run screens. You have to pull, have to come out and blah 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 blah. And it's like, so you're telling me that they benched Quentin Spain and now released him so they could run one screen a game? I don't think that's accurate. So I think there's an aspect of Ford. They want Ford to be at guard. I think they finally made that commitment. But Ford clearly is hurt. He's week to week, so that makes that part of it surprising. But honestly, for me, and I kind of alluded to this on Twitter today, and then I'll give the floor to you. I think that this staff is very protective of their culture, and I think this staff is extremely protective of what's going on inside that locker room, and they want everybody to be a good soldier. Now, I'm not saying that Quentin Spain was necessarily like had become toxic or anything like that. I just think that when you see what the staff did when they first got here, and the immediate releases, the immediate trades, the cleaning of the house, I just wonder if it got a little uncomfortable, and it was easier for them to be like, you know what, Feliciano's coming back, Cody Ford's playing, the left side. Let's just give you an opportunity to get someplace else and kind of move you out. So I don't know if you've heard something different. I know you've got some connections that I don't have, but that's just a feeling that I have, that there's an aspect of trying to protect that locker room.
I mean, I would agree with that, but I guess the problem that I have with that is it does come to for me, it comes to a point where it's like, don't forget the locker room and don't forget the culture, because it took us so much to change that. It took us so much to get here. Right. But at the same time, the play on the field is actually a big deal too. Yeah. Why are we keeping Brian Winters when so what I'm saying, like, I understand what you're saying, like, well, maybe let him go and do this because we got Ford playing at this level and Feliciano's coming back. Okay, that's fine. He's coming back. Let's get rid of Winters instead of Spain. But that's, but again, I don't know all the details about what happened. Obviously, we saw the tweet that Quentin Spain put out earlier and then deleted, saying like, well, if only they knew the real deal or whatever.
But doesn't that speak to what I said? That it speaks to what I said about like him feeling like he's better than the two guys they're starting at guard, right? And that's, I mean, if he was, as a leader, as a person that leads people, we specifically tell our people, look, you can complain up, right? So if you've got a complaint, complain to somebody above you. You can seek advice and you can seek counsel side to side, meaning from your peers. But if you complain, and God forbid you complain down, like it's immediately like we're just gonna move you out of here, because it just becomes a situation where it's just not healthy, and we don't want a part of that. So I guess that's my question. Like, if he was willing to tweet that out, does that speak maybe to what I was saying, that it was just becoming, maybe they wanted to not have it become a locker room issue or situation? I don't know. I mean,
I don't know, because I don't think he would have done it as a member of the team. He's been silent. Yeah, and every member of the team is silent. If they do tweet and they talk about stuff, it's never anything like that. So now that he's no longer a member of the team, yeah, he probably felt comfortable now. I wish they knew the real deal. But as a member, I think that culture was still, it was still put in place.
But even the mysterious like foot injury on Monday night, it's like all of a sudden, like we got word, oh, Quentin Spain all of a sudden has a foot injury. And it's like, well, wait, he didn't have a foot injury yesterday. How does he all of a sudden have a foot injury today?
Now, is that a Spain thing, or is that the way the team decided to not play him.
Why would they do that though? They had basically benched him anyway. I mean,
well, that's what I'm saying. Why has he been a healthy scratch anyway, or not a healthy? But why has he not been playing anyways? Like that. It comes down to all of that. Pierre Kingpin. Yeah, thanks, Saul. Or is it Saul or Saul? I don't want to say it incorrectly.
Probably Saul. Yeah, it's probably Saul. Yeah, I was just throwing it up there. So just so you know, Saul, that's one of the guys right there. So that's one of the founders that's thanking you for joining the Bing Squad. So I don't know, man. It's mysterious, and there's a lot of people talking about it, which is interesting. So, I don't think he's injured. There was an aspect of what I was just talking about. That he had that mysterious foot thing, but there was nothing reported on it before that, and I don't think there's anything that had been reported on it since then. Brian Bowers asks, why in the world are the Bills acting like Winters isn't trash? Are they watching the games? It's bonkers. Turnstile is the word. He's getting abused. It's literally, it's not as bad as what Epinesa did to him in preseason, but it's close. It's legit. It's legit close.
What's happening right now with our guard situation? It's almost reminiscent of 2 seasons ago when we had Shady, and Shady just wasn't able to really get any holes. And remember during the offseason, he tweeted out can I just get one of those big guys? You know what I mean? Pierre, yeah, you missed the intro. We actually went through the whole thing, and I was like, yo, shout out to my guy Pierre's you missed the whole thing, dog. But yeah, we doing this. but
we thank you, Pierre. We
did thank you. We thank we thank you, the leadership here. We thank the leadership over at Rumblings. This is fun to do, and it's fun to be able to be a family, man. This is dope. This is real
for
dope.
Sure. Anyways,
but like I said, it's reminiscent of the offensive line when Shady, remember, it was just bad, and Shady was hoping that we would draft an offensive line, and he was like, can I just get one of those big boys? To me, that's what the offensive line looks like. Granted, Josh has by far more, he's throwing better. So, and he can extend the play. So it looks like the offensive line is okay for passing situations. They're trash, man. They're playing horribly. And I love Hawk. I love Dion. You already know we love him.
We love him.
I love Ford when he's healthy. He's been playing, me all summer. I've been saying he needs to be a guard. So I love it. But man, Winters got to go. We need Feliciano back. This is just it's not working for me.
Yep. Sheldon Cole, you sent us a super chat, which we appreciate, but there's no question attached to it. I promise you this: if you can get your question out there, I'll read it. So I'll make sure I get to it. This is not true. Definitely, I don't know what you mean. It's Boho, it's Bajorquez that I have traditionally had a problem with, and it's Bajorquez whose jersey I'm going to be buying relatively soon. So I'm probably going to give it a couple more games. We'll get to midseason, and then if I have to buy one, I absolutely will buy one. So, which is crazy. It's just hard to believe how fast that whole situation with him just went sideways, and it's hard for me to believe, knowing with the COVID situation and what's been going on, how quickly continuity on that offensive line no longer mattered. You would think that with Feliciano going down, moving forward there, and they didn't even give Ty and Secchi a chance, who has some continuity with that offensive line. They immediately put in Darrell Williams. They moved forward to right guard. And then Quentin Spain, he was there for 2 games, right? And then all of a sudden it was a mystery. Ford went to left, and then Brian Winters came in at right. And it's just hard to believe how fast that went down. This is just not true. I don't know where this is coming from tonight.
We're gonna get you a Trent Murphy jersey. How about that? I hit my guy up.
Go down one sentence. What does that mean? Did I miss something? I must have missed something. Anyways,
but as far you mentioned Secchi, I think a good possibility is obviously Secchi planning, and because he pretty much can play any position on that line, other than center, or even Williams. Williams has done that in the past. He's been in guard position, so maybe it is where we put Secchi at right tackle and move Williams into guard, and I don't know, but listen, man, whatever's happening, all this talk that we had over the summer and what Brian Daboll and Coach McDermott talked about, we do not have the best 5 combination of players on the offensive line playing football. We just don't. And if that is the best combination, then we need to figure out what we're doing on the offensive line, period. We need to start over.
We might now that Spain is gone. So, but there's definitely, I don't care what anybody says. And, they were talking about it today. I heard some people talking about it. And they were just saying, you got to really respect this staff and what they do, because these guys know that if they practice hard and and they go at it in practice, that even if somebody's better than them, that they're going to get to play because of how hard they go in practice. And it's like, I don't want that. Like, I want the guy that can play. And there's an aspect to politics, in my opinion, in some areas being played as well. And Cody Ford is a direct recipient of draft politics. Like, he got drafted high. We're going to make sure that it works. Right tackle, right guard, left guard. Let's find out some spot for him versus just putting the best out there. Because, so as much as we want to believe that does happen, and they say it, the best five will play, or the best whatever will play, we don't always see it. So this was Sheldon's question on the super chat. Guys, on defense, say we have everyone we need. Do you think Murphy fits our defense anymore? I'll let you take that one.
I mean, for what the team apparently wants to do, I think he fits, because that's why he's still here. But for what, as fans, and really just for what we want for an NFL team, when you look at the NFL today, you have to get pressure on the quarterback.
Yeah,
you have to get pressure on the quarterback. Like, it just is what it is. So at this point, we have guys that fit the scheme that McDermott and Leslie Frazier want to put together. But the thing is, we're just not performing. We're not getting to the quarterback. We're not. It's bad, man. The defensive line and the offensive line is bad right now.
Yeah, for sure. There goes my light again. So there's 170 people up in this room right now.
Hump that like for us.
Yeah, you got to hump on that like for us. That's what we do on the Hump Day Hotline. We hump the like. Also, as Pierre Kingpin just said, whatever platform you're watching on, if you're watching on Twitter, if you're watching on Facebook, if you're watching on YouTube, copy the link, throw it over, go over to Twitter, go over to Facebook, throw it up there. Let's get some more Bills Mafia up in this place. This is also brought to you by Manscaped. Do you want to do the read while I mess with my light real quick? Yes, no, maybe?
I can do the read.
Do the read real quick. 2 seconds.
Everybody, fellas, and I noticed, and I was just reading through the comments, there are some ladies in here as well. So listen, if for the fellas, you got a lady, you want to take care of some things to make sure she takes care of you. Ladies, if you want to take care of your fellas, make sure he has things taken care of so you can take care of them. Go to manscaped.com, get the package. You want the one that's $100. It comes with everything that you need. It has the ball toner. It has the deodorant. It has everything. You got the bush trimmer. You know what I'm saying? You got the trimmer, all of that. It comes with a nice little carry bag, little travel bag for you. All you got to do when you go to the website, put in the promo code Fanatics, get 20% off and free shipping. I'm telling you, you will not be disappointed. It is definitely a smooth ride, when you get Manscaped.
So I just turned that ring light off. It's just not going to work. I don't know. I'm going to figure. I changed my studio around since the Hump Day Hotline live at Magruder's last week, which was a huge success. What a great time! And for those of you that missed it, man, you missed it. We had awesome. We had such a blast. Like,
it was awesome. It was a great night.
Yeah, it was absolutely fantastic. So I'm gonna have to figure out some lighting situation to go with my pink skin that turns white under the lights. But yeah, just getting back to this Quentin Spain thing. It's just you like the guy, right? I mean, he was a team guy. They gave Jordan Phillips the opportunity to go out and find a deal. He went out and found a deal, and like the Bills were like, we can't match that. They said the same thing to Quentin Spain. Hey, go out and find a deal. And Quentin's like, no, this is where I want to be. And the Bills were like, well, this is the number. And he's like, let's go. And then, like, literally, we're 6 games in, and he's gone. There's a lot about it.
It doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make sense, man. Like, either, you know what? I don't want to speculate, but it just doesn't make sense. And I'm a Quentin Spain fan, and for those who do follow me on Twitter, I'm sure you all saw my post where I'm like, thank you for being here, thank you for being the dog. Because for Josh Allen, he showed up for him when things were going on and guys were either hitting him wrong or whatever. He was one of those guys that was always in the other team's face. He was one of those guys that brought that dog mentality, like Feliciano. He didn't give up a sack last year. I appreciate that because. Trust me, we've seen our quarterback get beat up a lot. And like this year, we're noticing Josh get hit way more than we're comfortable seeing him get hit. I'm such a fan of Feliciano. I mean, of Spain. I love it.
And I was looking forward to Feliciano getting back and playing with Spain and kind of have like I wanted to see that offensive line, believe it or not, with Darrell Williams, right? I mean, there was just things we'll never see. So who knows? Maybe Cody Ford will fit in at left guard, and then Feliciano will come back to play right guard, and then Darrell Williams would do what Darrell Williams thinks. He's only really had from my knowledge or from what I remember, one relatively not great game. He's been pretty solid, and you're not hearing his name called, which is a good thing. So let's move on to what we don't want to talk about, which is the Kansas City Chiefs game. And I'm still not over this football game. And I got the opportunity to be on Pat Moran's Talking Buffalo podcast today. And if you are in this chat or can hear my voice and you have not heard Pat Moran's show or listened to it, you should. Pat's really good. And I think what it comes down to for me and what I said on his show was, if that game had ended 47-45 or 45-42 or 40-38 and we lost, it wouldn't have hurt as much. It was the way we lost. There was just a lot of things about that loss that were just like, who is this football team? Like, where did my team go? And why is this what I'm watching? It was just strange. Where are you headspace wise coming off, like, now that we're a couple days removed from that Chiefs game?
To be honest, so it didn't bother me any more than I was already bothered, the previous week. So I'm basically in the same place. I just feel like the team both weeks didn't show up. So my issue isn't it's not the talent. It's not, like whatever excuses anybody wants to bring up. I feel like I've seen teams go on the field at that stadium, nowhere near as talented, and show up and beat teams by far more talented.
For sure.
There's no reason why, we go to Tennessee and we crap the bed, and then we come back home and we're in Orchard Park, and now we crap. It's the Super Bowl champions. You don't put your best effort out there for the Super Bowl champions.
Yeah, and it's the way that it happened too, as far as just with the whole, we wanted to let them run on us, and this idea that like it was a victory because Mahomes didn't throw for 400 yards, and Mahomes was very very what's the word I'm looking for? He was very direct about the fact that like no, we had a bunch of RPOs called and the throws were there. We just chose to run them, like to run the RPOs and run the ball. And then you listen to Edwards-Helaire, who was like, it was like the parting of the Red Sea out there. Like there were holes so big, like I've never seen holes that big in my entire life. So it was just, and the fact that they were defending it, like they're like, no, this is the defense we dialed up and this is the poison we picked. It just, there's just no excuse. And then the offense was just the offense. Getting back to Spain, the real Chris Janke says or asks, do you guys think the Spain move will matter in the long run? The best guards for our team are Ford and Feliciano when he gets back. So wouldn't he have been benched anyways? I have a comment about this. Do you have one?
I do. I don't think that he would have been benched. I think what they would have done is what I didn't want them to do, and they would have ended up moving Ford back to tackle.
Yeah.
And I just think they would have gone back, because last year it worked.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like it worked. Yeah. So they would have gone back to the line that we had, and they would have tried to run with Moss and Singletary back there.
The problem that I have with the move today is the fact that Ford is hurt. Ford is week to week. So Ford is not guaranteed to play this weekend. So now you're actually literally talking about having some guys that aren't better, like some of these playing guard. It just is what it is. This is a great, Tim is all over it tonight. Jay Spence could have had 85 yards with those holes.
And this is with a recently recovered ACL, like on my right knee. Like I could have got 85 with those holes, man. Easy. He's right.
Yeah. What else stood out to you in that Chiefs game? As far as just there was nothing for me. There was no redeeming factor. There was no real redeeming quality of that game. Like there was nothing where, I mean, we kept Mahomes. Hang on a second. We kept Mahomes kind of in check, and Kelsey, we kept him kind of in check. Hang on a second.
Not that. You know where I'm going.
Let me finish. Let me finish. So we kind of kept them all in check, but I don't think we kept them in check as much as it was like, oh my God, like if I give him the ball, he's going to run for 31 yards. It was almost like, I don't even have to throw the football. Like I can literally just hand this ball off every time. The dude threw for 81%. Like that was one of the, hang on. That was one of the arguments, was the fact that like, I'm not so sure Mahomes could have like thrown the ball on us. And it's like, he was at 81%, like completions. Yeah. Like he could have done whatever he wanted in that football game. Go ahead. Hopefully he's watching.
Corey Bojorquez was a bright spot on the Buffalo Bills this past month. You knew I was just waiting. I was like, wait, I got one.
I had it queued up.
Man, he's honestly.
I had Colin Bearcon queued up.
The injury. I felt like it was the injury. So I'm happy that I was kind of sort of right about something this year.
Yeah. That's funny because even the offensive predictions we were living in a land that we never thought we'd live in. The last 2 weeks we've kind of been back in that what we may have expected land. We were living in wildest dreams land there for a long time. I don't even know what to think. As much as that Titans game was annoying, and you talked about it last week at Magruder's, just because it was clear and obvious that the Bills did not want any part of that football game. And I said that, that interception by Malcolm Butler, he wanted with everything inside of him to score. And that's how the Titans played that game. They wanted with everything inside of them to win that game. And the Bills on that interception wanted nothing to do with tackling him. And the same thing was true of how they played that game. They did not want to be there. And the level of frustration from that game is completely different to the level of frustration from this Chiefs game, where it just looked like they were pressing early, like they were trying to, and I'm all for the deep ball, but like, let's get some rhythm, right? Let's figure out before we throw 6 of them. Let's get some rhythm. Let's figure some stuff. I don't know. You sound like
But Joe, it's tough. No, I mean, because it's tough to really get into a rhythm when your offensive line
is garbage.
Honestly, like, and I don't want to just sit here and beat up on the offensive line. Like, I know that it's several phases of the game that you have to win.
Sure,
but honest to God, man, like there was a play, and I forget who posted it. There was a play where it was a handoff to Moss on the right side of the line, and before Josh could literally give him the ball, Winters was beat. Like the guy was in the back, and then Moss beat the one guy.
Yeah,
Moss beat the guy in the backfield, but then what do you do after that when there's 4 other guys around you now? Because you had to make your first move was when you first touched the ball. Like you had to, you can't, and then you can't expect Josh. So for instance, I know there were a lot of fans who were upset that Josh missed a throw wide open to Singletary coming out the backfield when he was wide open. And he was.
Yep.
But again, he was scrambling, running to his right because he was getting it's just, man,
it's a throw he's got to make. Even with that, the offensive line was not what we saw the first 4 games of the year. It just wasn't. I missed Rico's question here. Gentlemen, was McDermott playing scared or playing smart with his game plan? And just so you know, Rico, I'm driving, and this is the first time I've driven, so I'm doing the best I can. Don't anybody get mad at me. So was McDermott playing scared or was he playing smart with his game plan?
See, the thing is, I think it was a smart game plan. I don't think it was a good execution of it. Like I said, I don't think our players showed up. I think it was a smart game plan. But to Rico's question and to his point, the second half, okay, clearly, well, maybe I can't say it wasn't working because we went into the half, what was it, 13-10?
Mm-hmm.
So we may have felt like, okay, maybe this is working. If we can keep it close like this to the 4th and Josh does Josh things, then we'll be fine.
That's
but the thing is, and I think I said it too. So to Rico's point, I can't say that. I feel like he was trying to play smart.
Yeah.
I just feel like it didn't work out, man. But
yeah, for sure. Gary Gottschall. So yeah, thanks for the super chat, Gary. Maybe I missed this. What's the thought on Spain? We did just talk about. We spent like the first 10 minutes of the show talking about Quentin Spain. That was the news of the hour, if you will. We're not sure what's going on, and we're excitedly awaiting. We've got some ins with Mookie Hawkins and some other people like that, so we're kind of waiting to see. I know Mookie, had kind of talked. I think he tweeted out that he had talked to him today, but he didn't really give anything away. So we're all on the edge of our seats, waiting with bated breath, to find out exactly what happened in this situation. So my guess is he probably wanted to leave because he wasn't happy, and they obliged him. So, right? Is that thoughts? I mean.
No, I agree.
Put a bow on it.
Like it's but see, so Rico posted something earlier on Twitter that I agree with a lot, and my loyalty is to the team. I'm a Bills fan through and through, but I kind of agree with kind of Rico's point where he mentioned like I would want to leave the team too if I told you I wanted to be here. I didn't even go out and let anybody give me an offer. I'm like, no, I want to be here.
Right.
And then for whatever again, we don't know the behind the scenes, but for whatever reason, they're just not. They didn't think about playing them, and now they're. So yeah, no, I would leave too.
Culture is a very fragile thing, and it takes years to build, and it takes seconds to destroy. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see how this whole thing plays out. Carl Thurman says the Bills were within 3 points of the Chiefs until the end of the 4th quarter. Chiefs scored with 1:18 left. If Josh Allen was making the throws he is capable of, we had a very good chance. This is an interesting point. I don't agree because I think that had Josh been able to dial it up, I should say Dable dial it up and get that offense doing what that offense is supposed to be doing, I think that Pat Mahomes would have dialed it up because I don't think this defense had any shot of stopping him. Now, what's interesting, and the funny thing is we got some pretty good run on Good Morning Football and some of these highlight shows. They did not, they took it to the Cowboys. Like they were all over the Cowboys in that football game that came after ours. But for the Bills, they were like, we were down by 2 possessions. And they're like, and then the Bills like make it close late. And they actually, Josh Allen is doing Josh Allen things. Like, I was like, oh, this is interesting. They're not like lambasting us, because I was expecting to get like same old Bills. This is what we always expect. I think the only chance the Bills had in this football game was to get into a shootout with them and hope they make a mistake, instead of letting them run all over them and hope they make a mistake.
And that was the point that I was going to make to that question, because it's like, the game was close, but it was only because they chose not to air it out. Like it's only because, oh yeah, let's get more than 200 yards on the ground today. So they chewed up the clock, but so guys, is it fair to have concerns about McDermott as a creative game day in-game coach? No signature wins, poor scoring in third quarters, blowout losses, etc. What do you think, Joe?
I don't want to say yes. But, the reality is, and there was stuff coming out on Twitter over the last couple of days just about how many playoff teams he's beaten, right? And it's not very many. I think he's only beaten 3 playoff teams in 3 years, in the 3 years that he's been here. So there's something to be said for the way that he's coaching. To Rico's point, I don't know that he's coaching scared. He says all the right things. He says and he said it last year, we don't want to score field goals. We want to score touchdowns. But there's something going on, and it speaks to why we haven't seen Josh Allen play a complete football game yet. We have not seen Josh Allen in a zone for 4 quarters. It hasn't happened, which makes us all sit here and go, well, we don't even know what Josh's ceiling is, because there's still room to grow there. I don't know if that's a McDermott thing. It comes back to the third quarter piece, like the signature win thing. We were looking for it last year, right? We were like, where's the signature win at? Where's the signature win? And we thought maybe it was the Steelers game against Duck Hodgins.
I don't know. See, I disagree with the statement, and I get the I get why the question is posed. Like, I get why people would have that question, but I just disagree. So you mentioned the Cowboys game. To me, that's a signature win. You on Thanksgiving, you go into Dallas, and I get it. They didn't make the playoffs, and I get that they didn't show up like they were supposed to. But everybody thought that the Dallas Cowboys was at least a contender in the NFC. So they just didn't show up. This year, I agree.
I take that back. I agree. You got me. And
then earlier this year, I know some people think that so far the Rams might be a joke. I don't think that the Rams are a joke. I think that joke. And granted, whoever wants to, I'm sure we'll see some comments that, oh, well, the Bills got that pass interference call late. Listen, there were a lot of calls in that game that, so the game is played 60 minutes for a reason. So the Bills won. I think that they have some. Honestly, I think Sean McDermott. I still want to stick to my summer take that he's a top 5 coach in the league. He's just making it difficult for me right now with the in-game adjustments.
Yeah,
that third quarter for me sticks out like a sore thumb. I don't understand how we can have phenomenal first halves. Yeah. Phenomenal first. Like Josh Allen comes out and he looks like the combination of Brett Favre, Jesus, and Tom Brady in the first half. And then the second half, he comes out the third quarter and he just looks like he doesn't even want to get off the bench. And I don't get it. I don't get it.
Doesn't make sense. Clayton Garrett in the house. What's up, Clayton? Good to see you tonight.
Guy, what's up, man?
If you have some questions, feel free. If you got some statements, if you want to correct us, feel free to do that too. Brian Bowers says this defense has no chance of stopping anyone currently. Let's keep it a buck. If Josh and the offense doesn't put up crazy points, we're not winning because the defense literally can't stop anyone. And that was my point about the MVP talk. Like, we just need to put it on pause, because Josh Allen, an MVP does this. An MVP is like, okay, I know what my defense is and what my defense can and cannot do. And I'm going to have to go out there and I'm going to have to outscore the other team because my defense can't stop anybody. And Josh right now, whether it's him or coaching, isn't capable of doing that. And we saw that in the last 2 games. So this is the number. McDermott is 3-15 against playoff teams in his current record. So that guy, they poured some cold water on that.
Let's be fair about that though, and because of the thing, I really dislike making him look really bad. Like, you got to understand. So that first year when Josh was here, that was Sean McDermott's second year.
Agreed.
That was not a good year. So the what were we 10-6 that year or 5? What were we?
The year that went to the first year in the playoffs?
No, the first year was with Tyrod.
Yeah, 9-7.
The second year we got rid of Tyrod. We drafted Josh. We were
7-9 or 6-10.
We were 7-9 or 6-10. Yep. I can guarantee you a lot of those 15 came in that season. So like I'm judging Sean McDermott from last season and this season with the talent. I judged him the first year too, because he got to the playoffs with a team that literally wasn't like nobody thought the Bills would make the playoffs, and we snuck in.
Right.
I'm judging Sean McDermott from last season and this season. So let's talk about the playoff teams that we played last year and this year. Granted, we're 0-2 this year.
Agreed. I think the first year, even the second year, yes, I don't know that that's a fair stat. I would agree with you. To me, a coach stat, a head coach stat is playoff wins, right? So to me,
and he's had one game.
Yeah, playoff wins is more of a head coach stat because there's a whole different level of getting your team prepared than just a normal regular season football game. You're wobbling that desk over there. Is there an earthquake in Arizona right now?
I wish.
That's funny. But everybody, you're listening or watching the Hump Day Hotline, and I am one of your hosts, Joe Miller. You can find me on Twitter at Joe Miller Wired, and that over there is my co-host,
Jay Spence the King. You can find me the same way on Twitter and Instagram at Jay Spence the King.
That's right, and I am the host of the Overreaction podcast that airs on Sundays and Mondays, and Jay Spence on the Buffalo Fanatics podcast network, and Jay Spence the King is the host of the Code of Conduct podcast that now airs on Buffalo Rumbling. Scott Van Loo, thank you for the super chat, my man. You are all over this tonight. What I don't get is they were struggling the whole entire time for 3 quarters, and all of a sudden Beasley School is in the 4th now, and they decide they want to play. I don't know if it's a coaching thing or a personnel thing.
That's a decent point. I think the first 3 quarters, it goes to our point that we kind of made earlier. I just think the game, the team just didn't look like they really wanted to show up. But one thing that I am impressed with, and I've been impressed this entire season and last season, and really all 3 seasons since Josh has been here, Josh is a gamer. Even if nobody else is going to show up, Josh is going to do what he does. So to your point, and I don't know who just what was the name of the guy who made the comment?
Scott.
So to your point, Scott, Josh Allen in the 4th quarter is going to try to do Josh Allen things. So that's what we saw. We saw him try to come back. We saw him try to will the team to a victory. It's just that this time it was a little too soon it was just too late. And the thing is, the team wasn't with them. And once they finally got that energy for it, you're playing against the Super Bowl champions. So
yeah, for sure.
Pat Mahomes is not going to he's not going to sit down and say, okay, well, yeah, you can come back and beat me. He's not like those other guys.
Yeah, and people even talked about the defense. Like the defense started stopping Edwards-Helaire towards the end. And the reality was at that point in time, I don't even know if the Chiefs cared. They were just trying to run the clock out. They're like, man, we're not going to put the ball in harm's way. I'm not going to throw it around their yard. So we're just going to give the ball to Edwards-Helaire. The defense crept up, kind of started stopping him. And I just don't know that you can take what happened necessarily in the 4th quarter. The only I guess if I had a redeeming thing about that game outside of Corey Bojorquez, is the urgency at which they scored that second touchdown. I was fearful that the same thing that was going to happen that happened in the Titans game was going to happen in this football game, and that they would get the ball in the 3rd quarter and then put together an 8-minute drive. They were down by 2 possessions. In the Titans game, it was 3, and they put together an 8-minute drive. And I'm like, what are you doing right now? And they scored in 2.5 minutes. Yeah, go ahead.
I never have asked for this, and I probably won't ever again. This Amir A guy, can we block him?
I don't see him. Oh, there he is.
Look at this comment that he posted.
I'm not there because I'm on Carl Thumbman.
I want to block Amir. I just want to block him. Imagine Josh Allen in a Patriots jersey. That's what he said.
Let's not.
Let's not imagine Josh Allen in any jersey outside of a Buffalo Bills. If you want to imagine him in a different jersey, look at his college game in the Wyoming jersey. Yeah.
John Marlowe says, I remember McDermott had the banners at One Bills Drive be Super Bowl caliber, and now the banners say playoff caliber. And that comes back to the culture stuff that we were talking about. Culture takes a long time to build, and it can be destroyed in just a matter of minutes. It literally can be destroyed. You can lose a locker room or lose culture just by making a wrong personnel decision or not treating somebody right. The guys on his team love McDermott and Bean for a reason, and they just need to make sure that they I don't know what's going on here.
I'm just laughing at people saying like Amir's gone. And I'm just for the record, I don't really want to block you, Amir. I'm joking, man.
I'm with Richard Rush on this one, so we're not there yet, but that's where I'm at, bro. Like me and Rich, we see eye to eye on this. So we've been on this thing for about 40 minutes. We got some time left. Let's do this. Let's transition and let's segue over to this week's game. The Buffalo Bills are traveling to New Jersey to play the New York Jets. We normally talk about certain things as it pertains to just like matchups and stuff like that. I don't know. There's key matchups. They're not only that the Jets went from a dumpster fire to a fire sale. They traded another linebacker today. Obviously Bell is gone. Rumors everywhere on where Darnold's going, like whether it's the Vikings. Yeah.
Could you imagine if Bell could have been active Monday?
Oh my gosh, dude.
Could you just imagine if we put Bell? I'm sorry, move forward.
We would have had to have an emergency pod titled "Washed" with a question mark. Washed?
I would have quit. I just wouldn't have done pods no more. Like if the Bills would have got 400 yards rushing on them, I would have just quit.
Yeah,
I'd have just quit.
You know, there's something to be said for what we've seen the last 2 weeks. And the reality is this: as much as I get accused for overreacting, and my show is called the Overreaction Podcast, the Jets game can't come at a better time. The reality is the sky is not falling. The season is not over. I firmly believe that the Bills are going to be able to figure some stuff out and get some things solved. And this Jets game, the schedule gods put this game in the perfect spot, because at 4-2, football will be fun again. You know, this time next week when the Bills are 5-2, because if they lose this game, then the wheels are off the bus. Like, right? I mean, there's something to really be worried about. So, you know, we're talking about what Flacco's most likely going to play. I mean, it's a tire fire over there. So, what are you going to be watching for? Is probably the best question. And I'd love to see in the comments as well, because there's a lot of smart Bills fans that join us for this show. What are you guys going to be watching for in this football game?
The thing that I'm going to be watching for is just dominance. I don't need it to be necessarily a blowout. Like I don't care if we win 45-3 or if we win 25-10. I don't care, but it needs to clearly look like we're just a better team all around than the New York Football Jets. There's no reason. There's no reason why this game should be competitive. And if it is, I'm super disappointed. Like they shouldn't be able to run on us. They traded away Bell. I think they have, what's the rookie's name? Like Perrine or something like that.
Yeah.
Perrine and Frank Gore. Frank Gore. Listen, if Frank Gore averages 4 yards a carry Sunday, I will be pissed off. On a Buffalo Bills football team last season, he couldn't get 2 yards on 3rd and 1. So if he averages 4 yards a carry against this version of the Buffalo Bills, I would be so pissed off.
Well, he's not going to see the defense that the Chiefs saw. That's for sure. I mean, they're not going to. I mean, I don't think that they're going to like. They're not going to allow that to happen. Joe Flacco's not going to scare them. Joe Flacco can play football still, but I don't think he's going to see the same thing. So Clayton Garrett says the O-line having chemistry. I agree. Austin says recovery from both sides of the football. I agree. Chris says defensive line progression. I don't know where that's at. I mean, you want to talk about a place to complain about? We're talking about, you know, the highest paid defensive line in the NFL, and I've said it a lot this week. It's the most overpaid, like defensive line in the NFL.
Yeah. And when you first said it, I didn't agree with you, but listen, you're 100% right.
Yeah.
If you can't get pressure on the quarterback, you can't sack. You have to get pressure on the quarterback especially if you're getting paid that type of money. We could put money so many other places.
Agreed. I'm just going through these. I'm loving the comments of what people are saying. So I'm just kind of clicking through them. There's a lot. I love it. Come on. Is that the real Bruce Nolan? Is that Bruce exclusive? I'm watching for Allen to get back on track against the defense that will bring pressure the way the Chiefs did. Yeah. More defense and offense, just more better football, Fabian, right? Brian Adams, Trey to show up this season. That's what it's funny because Trey has not been Trey-esque. However, he has. I mean, he shut down Tyreek Hill. I mean, there's a situation or a part of Trey White that like they're still not throwing at him. So he's made a couple mistakes this year. There was clearly, as much as Troy Aikman blamed him for looking into the backfield on Kelsey's first touchdown, he dropped and then somebody jumped into the flat. He lunged forward to cover that guy when the ball got released and then started trucking backwards. And Poyer was supposed to have Kelsey. That was a broken coverage play, Kelsey's first touchdown. That was not on Trey White. But to the point of Trey White, and I tweeted this, and I don't remember when, this team is missing that identity player on like the JJ Watt, the Khalil Mack, they're missing that guy like that is like the dude, the Troy Polamalu. They're missing that guy that establishes the personality and the rest of the team, rallies around. Do you agree with that? No, you're okay with the lack of personality, the very vanilla and anonymous defense that we seem to have.
We have a vanilla. That's overpaid. Josh Norman is absolutely a character. He's been getting beat, but he's a character. He brings that. But I mean, he brings that attitude.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a couple guys on defense and offense that brings that attitude. The problem is we're not playing the same way. And so, and when people bring up Trey, you got to understand, like, so Trey is that good. He's as good as advertised.
Yeah.
The thing is, when you're part of a team overall that's not performing as well, then you're also not going to perform as well. So if there's missed assignments, then he's going to overextend himself in certain ways that he normally wouldn't have to overextend himself. So yes, he will miss on some things, and it will make him look worse. But Trey White, somebody asked me on my pod this week, and I don't know if you saw that, but I posted and like people were killing me for even posting the question, but it was like I answered it. I think Trey, you extend Trey 10 times out of 10 for the amount that we did and make him the highest paid cornerback in the league.
I'm in 100% agreement. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about.
I wasn't saying you weren't. I wasn't saying you weren't.
Great defenses, or a lot of defenses, have that one guy. And the best example that I can give you is when Khalil Mack went to Chicago, he basically took over. There was that first year he was there. It was, I mean, everybody was afraid of Khalil Mack when they played the Bears. Nothing like Jadeveon Clowney going to the Titans, and his name hasn't even really been called. Like, Jadeveon Clowney is there, but like there's really not. I mean, JJ Watt, when JJ Watt is playing, you do everything you can to avoid JJ Watt because he brings the personality out of that defense. For me, there's just an aspect of it. As much as, yes, I agree, you extend Trey White 100 out of 100 times, and he's worth every penny you pay him. This defense isn't Trey White's defense. It's missing that personality, that like this is who we are. Trey just goes out there and does a hell of a job. Like, he does his job better than everybody else does, but it's not like, oh my God, we're playing Trey White this week. You know what I mean? Like, that's just how I feel. So Scott Van Loo with the super chat. Thank you, buddy. In your opinion, Spence, do you think they should take the reins from Leslie Frazier? Do you think that's a coaching thing? Or do you think Leslie Frazier is doing a bad job coaching the defense? I asked you this question kind of last week.
You did. And so I'm still on the side where I think that Leslie Frazier is a good defensive coordinator in this league.
I do too.
I don't know why we start the season off with issues. It's been consistent, and that was my point that I made to you last week. Agreed. It's been consistent that we start the season off slow on defense, and I just don't get it. I really don't get it. We have the same talent. We have the same, and Leslie Frazier, I'll tell you what, because I do see a ton of Bills fans at this point saying, oh, we need to get rid of Frazier, or whatever. If Leslie Frazier is fired, he will have a job immediately. Like, he is the kind of coach. I'm telling you. So I get that, we might not be playing up to par.
Right after his Mexican vacation, he's going right back to work.
He'll take a couple weeks off to do some things, but yeah, let's not get too crazy. Same thing.
Interesting point. Sorry, interesting point. Okay. I just want to get to it because I'm way behind in the comments. So again, if you want to get a comment through, super chat me, because like I'm not keeping up. I'm not good at driving. This is great from Bruce, and it speaks to what you were just saying. The edge and dog that the Bills lost with Shaq Lawson. I feel they thought they were hoping they would get back with Josh Norman. Thoughts? Do you agree with that?
Well, so last week we debated about Jordan Phillips.
Yes,
I think we missed Lawson.
I don't think we debated. I agreed with you. Like, I don't think I disagreed with you, but yes.
Maybe it was Mookie that disagreed. He kept trying to tell me that Jordan Phillips was like.
It was Mook. It definitely was not.
So maybe it was Mook. But
Mook's probably watching. He'll probably chime in here in a second.
And if he does, I'll tell him again. I can't wait to tell him Sunday. He's crazy. We don't miss him. We miss. I do think we miss Shaq Lawson though, 100%. And I agree with Bruce.
Agreed.
Bruce just knows what he's talking about. But I always agree with Bruce.
Yeah. How can you disagree? So he just seems to have it going on. Yeah. I wish, man. JJ Watt, tired of losing football games. Come to Buffalo. What's that the like, come to me, like, so what's up, Rico? The bosses are in the house tonight. I was asked a week ago from a friend of mine, who on the Bills do other teams fear? Who on the Bills do opposing teams fear? Who are they identifying? I simply couldn't answer. And this was amazing. I don't know, did you listen to the podcast today with Pat Moran, the Talking Buffalo pod?
I did not.
I'm going to ask you the same question he asked me. You ready? This was the first question he asked me. If you had to pick right now, the season ended today because of COVID or whatever, who's who on defense is the MVP of the season?
Who on defense is the MVP of the season? Mario Addison.
You answered a lot quicker than I did because I was like, I got nothing. Like, for me, it was like, I guess Micah Hyde because he's made the least amount of mistakes. That's literally how I answered.
I would say Mario Addison.
Addison, just because of the sack numbers, even though like
well, no, not the
they
sack
haven't been
numbers. He's actually doing what he's paid to do. So it's like he's not the one that's like just messing up his role. Micah Hyde is playing. He's not. He made the least amount of mistakes, I feel like, in the secondary, but the secondary right now, because the line and even the linebackers just aren't playing right to me.
Right. I agree.
They're just not playing right. But
Right.
So if I had to pick one, I would go Addison.
By the way, Tim, he says Scott, and he's talking about Scott Van Loo is the real deal, spending money here instead of at the strip club. You are 100% right. Buffalo Fanatics, we love you, Scott. Like, you are the man, and we appreciate you, my friend. So yeah,
keep
all the
making
love.
it rain, Scott.
Yeah, keep making it rain. All the love that you show us,
on hump
we
day.
absolutely appreciate. So he's talking to Rico. What else about this Jets game? So, do you matchup wise? I don't think there's anybody on this defense is becoming a shell of itself. Like I said, they just traded away another linebacker. Offense, you're talking about Gore and what was the news today? There was news today about Crowder, but I don't remember what it was.
You know what? I didn't see it, but I can look it up while you're talking.
Yeah, and let's actually, while we're doing that, let's do this too. Where'd it go? So let's talk about the injury report today. So this came out today. As far as the injury report goes, Josh Allen, left shoulder, full participant. John Brown did not participate. John Brown isn't somebody we did not talk about from that Chiefs game. Literally, he was limping all over the football field. He was a shell of himself, and I gotta wonder if he was just meant to be a decoy out there. I know Josh threw him the football what 3 times or 4 times.
Man, that deep ball was beautiful.
Yeah, but for all intents and purposes, I think they felt they needed John like to help get other guys open. Regardless, Terrell Dotson hamstring did not participate. Cody Ford with a knee did not participate. Fromm is Fromm. Dawson Knox, I don't believe he was even at practice today, so I don't know if he's if he's getting looked at by a specialist or if something else is going on. Cam Lewis was limited. He had a giant cast on his wrist. And then Matt Milano is a weird story because Matt Milano practiced fully on Thursday, no red jersey, and then was back in the red jersey on Friday, limited, and then didn't play in the football game.
Maybe he really aggravated it.
He may have. I mean, it's you, but you wish you could. You wish the coaches would tell you that stuff, right? So,
yeah, but the thing with Crowder is that he was limited in practice with the groin injury.
Yeah, and this is true. Pierre's on your side about who's the MVP right now. Quick answer is Addison, but he had to be the pick because he's the only one truly producing, probably in some sort of what we would consider, a consistent basis, right? So, I don't know.
Rico asked a good question in there, and he's like, so who are you most disappointed with on defense? And in the chat,
yes,
a lot of fans are.
Yes,
right, and that's the thing. And he's like, it's disappointing, right? It's sad, and that's the thing. So when we're talking about the defensive MVP, if the season was to stop today, you're literally just picking. It almost sounds like we're voting for president now. It's like we're picking the less of the two evils at this point. Like, who is the less? Like, who messes up the least? Who's the best?
Literally why I went with Hyde. I was like, what? That's what I told Pat Moran. I was like, I got to pick Micah Hyde because he's made the least amount of mistakes. Bills fans, 1970, $2. Thanks for the super chat. For once, I agree with Spence. I agree.
For once, you're right, man.
There it is.
He's right.
Who's the biggest disappointment on defense? That's super good. And are people blowing up the chat with that?
The one thing I do want to comment on, because a lot of people, I still see a lot of people saying Edmonds. I'm not as rough on Edmonds right now. Like he's clearly fighting through an injury. Like he's trying to be there, period. Yeah. When really he shouldn't be playing at all.
For sure.
You can tell he's injured. And I think this kid is smart. Like, and granted, I don't want to just be a homer, but at the same time, I kind of trust Lorenzo Alexander's opinion on this. Like, he was just with those guys and he played in the league for a long time. And there's a reason why he is like considered one of the best players that we've had in a while. I kind of believe his opinion. And he thinks that Edmonds is still playing at a high level, but he looks injured and that the defense just isn't playing cohesive. Like, it's not a cohesive unit right now.
My concern is how much he's over pursuing. And I just don't understand that. And the Bills, a lot of them are doing it. They're just over pursuing. And it's almost like instinctively, they're not necessarily just turning right when they need to turn right, turning left when they need to turn left, or running straight. Like I just feel like they're over pursuing, which is really strange. What are you laughing at? What I miss?
No, Pierre. He's like, it's bad when fans start calling for Jake Fromm.
That's good. Carl Thaman says, I think that we shouldn't rush anyone back off the injured list to play the Pop Warner Jets. And I think the Bills have done this already this year. I think the Bills did this against the Dolphins. I think they kept some guys out for that reason, and give them all let them have the extra week to fully prepare for the Pats.
I disagree with that, man. Like I hate that way of thinking.
Not to look ahead, the Pats don't scare me at all. Like there's nothing about that football team right now.
But the thing is, I get that the Jets are selling their team, and I get that Adam Gase is their coach. These guys are still professionals, and it's embarrassing every single day to go home to your family and talk to your friends or go on social media and see how people are talking about your performance at work. I'm telling you, any given Sunday, a 0-6 team can turn into a 1-6 team. Any given Sunday.
Agreed.
And it's a division game. Mark, I don't agree, man.
Mark from Facebook. What's up, Mark? I love that shot of you. I don't know where you are in paradise, but I wish I was there right now. Hughes has been a disappointment. Talk about it, Spence.
I don't think he's been a disappointment. I think that there's a reason why he's not getting calls. So that might be his attitude in the past, might be the reason why he looks like a disappointment this year. Mm-hmm. But Jerry Hughes is still doing Jerry Hughes things, but he's being held, if not 85% of the time, 95% of the time. And the referees just do not call it.
And the best one was after it may have been the Titans game when the Bills put out the pick and like it was of Hughes getting held. And I don't remember what the capture was, but that they picked that, they chose that picture on purpose. They chose a picture of Hughes being held, which was, it just, I don't know. He gets held a lot, and it probably is his attitude and how chatty he is, but they're just missing some killer instinct.
And I'll tell you what, you mentioned that you're not afraid of the Pats. I'm not afraid of the Pats in the sense of them having a better roster than us. But I tell you what, we just gave up over 200 yards on the ground. That offense is built to run with Cam Newton. So I am nervous about, honestly, and this isn't the talk from over the summer where I'm like going in on Cam. I'm serious. Like,
no, for sure.
If we can't fix this run defense, dude, the Patriots, that's what they're built to do.
But they're going to do what they're going to do what they did to Josh Jacobs, and they're going to do what they did to Derrick Henry. They're going to shut the run down, and they're going to say, okay, can't beat us, who has not thrown for more than 160 yards in 3 games this year. So
he hasn't had to.
But I don't. They're 2-3. He's had to.
No, he hasn't had to. So this past game that they just lost, he hadn't practiced. He came back from COVID. So what I'm saying, like, we're looking at, and this is what we do. I get it. We're looking at like the stat. Hump those likes, people.
Jump on it.
But at the end of the day, he didn't play well. But guess what? In the fourth quarter, with 2 minutes left, he put the Patriots in a position to win the game.
Yeah.
Like, period, against a good defense.
Yeah.
So, we could joke and say all this stuff. I'm telling you, I'm nervous about the running attack of the Patriots. Yep. So no, I don't think they're going to beat us. I do think that we're better for, like, this year. I really think is the year that we overtake them. But there's a lot of us fans like, oh, the Jets are nothing, and we should, but at the same time, they're professionals, and it's a division game. And then the Patriots are not. I get it. Tom Brady's not there. They don't have Gronk from before, and they don't have all the. Listen. Cam will throw for 165, 185 yards when you and rush for 85 and a touchdown. And he's Josh Allen with a little less arm talent right now.
I would probably agree. And how about the favor that the Dolphins did for us, announcing that Tua is going to start? You think Tua is
a favor?
I think it's a favor. I don't think Tua is going to come out and like all of a sudden take them to the playoffs. Do you?
Well, no, I don't think he's going to take them to the playoffs, but that he has the it factor. So same way for me with Josh Allen when we first played him, he's not developed yet, but he won certain games because he has that factor. Yeah. When you just have it, man, you always have a shot.
Sure.
Always have a shot.
Sure. So you are watching the Hump Day Hotline. I'm your host, Joe Miller. You can find me on Twitter at Joe Miller Wired. That is my co-host, Jay Spence. You can find him on Twitter at Jay Spence the King. If you are watching this thing, there's over 200 of you in this thing. Jump on that like button, hump that like button. We got 89 on YouTube, and I'm clicking over to YouTube. It looks blurry. I don't know why the feed for me, because like from the platform it looks fine, but like it's going in and out of being blurry.
The entire thing is blurry there.
Yeah, I don't know if that's just something that my computer's doing or what. So if it's blurry, I apologize. Spence is going to watch it. He's going to watch it.
I'm going to put it on my TV. We'll see.
Let's do this. I don't want to get into keys to securing a Bills victory against the Jets, just because I don't. It's a crap show over there, big time. They just need to come out and play football. They need to come out and they need to smash the guy in the teeth across the line of scrimmage, which, to be honest with you, the Bills have had a very hard time doing this year. Bruce Nolan said it a little bit ago in the chat. The reality is the Bills are missing Feliciano on the offensive line. They're clearly missing, Jordan Phillips and Shaq Lawson and that dog mentality on the defensive line. We need them to just line up and just beat the guy across the line. It just is what it is. I don't know if you've got something quick from just a key to securing that Bills victory. I guess no games. Just come out and play football.
No, but that's what I said. We just have to come out and dominate. Like every phase, we just need to be better.
Yeah, exactly. Just do Bills things. Don't press. Don't change the game plan. I feel like that. I feel like the game plans were so different from Tennessee and the Chiefs to even the first 4 weeks. That was some of the struggle that Josh Allen had. That it was like, they found this pocket that Josh Allen lived in for the first 4 games where he was just himself. He was comfortable. He was in control. And it was like everything was just open to him. And then the game plan was different for the Titans and the Chiefs. And I felt like he just struggled with it. Like it wasn't natural. I don't know if natural is the right word. I just felt like he pressed a lot. Just let him come out. And if you beat him by 40 points, who cares, right? This isn't about respect. Adam Gase is going after the end of the season anyway. Just let him come out and play football. And the same thing, let's beat the Jets.
I'm gonna be honest. If the game is competitive, I'm gonna be pissed off. If we lose, I'm gonna be super pissed off. So it's just,
if we lose that football game, I told you the wheels on the bus have fallen off. That doesn't mean we still don't make the playoffs or could make the playoffs. I'm just telling you, there's some more guys getting cut, like getting released. It just is what it is. Joseph Hanover, thank you for the super chat. I really don't think we have to worry about the Pats run game. Henry and Jacobs are stronger runners. We did really well against them. And that's kind of where I felt with that as well. So
I just think that Daniels, he's a better play caller than those guys. And, so I don't know. I just think that they're more creative in New England and defensively, they still have Bill Belichick is all the hate that I've given him over the years, man. Like if I'm gonna just be honest, and like everybody is, he's a genius on defense, man.
He's a genius on defense, but questions are being answered right now. And the questions that are being answered was it Brady or was it Belichick? And I have forever been on it's Belichick.
What do you, okay, true. I will.
But Brady is down in Tampa doing, Brady looks like Brady right now. And Belichick's team does not. Yeah, like I watched the last 2 Buck games. I just popped them on because I have for some reason I have the Sunday ticket for free. I don't know why. Yeah. It's I didn't ask for it. I didn't have to call them to get it.
Just let it ride. You shouldn't even have said this on here.
I didn't call them to tell them that I've got. Normally every year you get the first week of Sunday ticket free if you've got DirecTV and you get in the Red Zone channel, and then they take it away week 2. They haven't taken mine away, and I checked my bill like 2 weeks ago, and I was like, I'm not gonna say nothing, so I haven't said nothing. So I've been watching the Buck games, but he literally looks like, and he even in this last game was working Gronk, and Gronk was beginning to do Gronk things. Whereas Belichick, it just seems like that team is reaching a little bit, if that makes any sense. I mean, and you probably won't agree with me because that's kind of where we end up being on some of this stuff. But
well, no, I agree that obviously Tom looks better in Tampa than New England looks at the moment, but again, like I try to keep everything in its proper context. You also don't have the teams, like New England isn't the same team that it was when Brady was there. Like it just isn't. Like last year, it resembles it mostly because of the receivers and the weapons that Cam would have on offense. But no, like typically, like normally, they have a good team on offense and on defense.
Yeah.
This year they have a decent, like they still play good defense, but it's still not the defense from last year. Agreed. And then on offense, they definitely don't have, like when Cam wasn't in there. Come on, you saw how the offense looked without Cam. Like
for sure, but the offense doesn't look tremendously better with Cam. So I mean, and there's clearly playbook growth, and like you've got to grow into it and stuff like that. So I mean, it's I'm sure the Josh McDaniels playbook isn't exactly easy. I'm sure that there's.
But how did the offense look with Tom last year? They looked pedestrian last year.
That was Tom stuff, but that's part of one. Yeah, I can't disagree. It'll be interesting to see how the end of this year plays out.
It'll be fun.
Sure.
It'll be fun.
CR says, I think the schedule changes may have affected the Bills more than we thought for the Titans and the Chiefs. Absolutely for the Titans. Absolutely. The Chiefs, I don't know. I'm glad that they moved that game as much as we did the HUMP Hotline live at Magruder's last week. And the expectation was the Chiefs game was going to be after it. Hindsight is 2020, and who knows how they would have played. But if that was the game we had gotten, we all would have left by halftime. Like we'd have been like peace out. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm not, well, maybe not. It was 13-10 and the Bills had just had the opportunity to tie the game. That was
But you could see where it was going. You could see where that
you
game
could
was
feel
going.
it.
Like
I said it on my podcast. My 13-year-old daughter sits up from the couch halfway through the third quarter and she's like, this is a boring football game. I was like, you're right, baby. I don't know what to tell you.
I can't disagree with you.
It just is what it is. So I don't know what's going on here. Amir is celebrating his 5th birthday today. He's having fun.
He's still saying stuff about Josh Allen being with the Patriots, so people want to block him.
He just got back. He said
something else, and then that's why, like, you just don't learn. You haven't been seeing it. People been going in on him, man.
So do you think CR asks another question, which is a good question to ask? Do you think there'll be any moves made by the trade deadline? And I would tell you this. So when Murphy got benched last week or this week against the Chiefs, there were immediate rumors that he was on the outs and that they were going to begin shopping him. I would imagine they tried to trade Quentin Spain. They obviously were in on Lev Bell. It would not surprise me if this year a couple moves are made. The problem that I have, and I think you and I may have talked about it offline, is why, if you're in for Lev Bell and you're looking to trade Murphy, why are you not in on Snacks when Snacks was available? Why are you not chasing Prince and Mukamura? Like, why are you not going after some linebacker that can play better than these guys we have? What's that?
He's different. The Jets are paying Le'Veon Bell. Like, so the new team, they're not on the hook for the same, like, they're not on the hook for a $10 million contract. So Lev Bell going to the Chiefs, they're getting off lucky having a all-pro type caliber running back to pair with their superstar rookie running back. Whereas when you're talking about bringing in, Prince, or you're talking about bringing in Snacks, those guys want at least $8 to $9 million separately. So I just don't, I think that played into it. If you could talk one of those guys into coming in for $3 million for the year and like, hey, come in and play the rest of the year. Let's, kind of just figure out where it goes. If it does well, we'll extend. If you can get that, by all means, but I just don't see that happening with these guys. It's about money, and that's okay. It's the league. It's the business. Elliot, what's up, Elliot? He says Bills will finish 11-5, and we'll get the ship right. Everybody acting like the sky is falling must be new fans. Trust the process. I agree with you. One of the things that I said on the podcast today is that, or yesterday, I'm used to being on Wednesday now. Right. But one of the things I said on my podcast yesterday is that, we're still first in the division. We're 4-2. If in the summertime when Joe and I did the show and we talked about where we would be, like, each week, we did like a prediction for the season. We both, I think we were 5-1 at this point.
Yeah, you had them losing to the Titans, and I had them losing to the Chiefs. Yep, that's right.
So it was flip-flop. We both lost to the teams that we thought we would lose to, but we lost both. We're 4-2. If somebody would have told you in March that come week 6, the Buffalo Bills will be 4-2, and the only 2 losses that they had will be against the Chiefs and the Titans, I don't think everybody would be upset. But it happened back to back, and Josh looked like, he looked like
it's the way they lose.
It's the way, but still, like, the grand scheme of things, like you said, like, we can fix this. We can fix this.
That Titans game is completely forgotten if the Bills lose to the Chiefs 45-42.
I agree.
Totally forgotten if the Bills lose. All we're talking about today is, man, we played the Chiefs. It was 45-42. We lost, but we're going to have to do something about this defense, but it was the Chiefs. But we lost 45-42, and Josh Allen looked amazing, right? That's the conversation we're having. We're not even talking about the Titans anymore, but because of the way they lost, it just changes the world. Rico, fellas, do we need a nose? Question mark, or do we stick with who and what we got, but have higher expectations for them? Seems like McDermott is content with the $50 million he's invested in the D-line, Murphy included. I think he's going with, like, he's dancing with the one he brought. I don't know what you think, but
I don't know. I think we'll see some changes. I really do. I think we'll see some changes. I think either a trade or I don't think there's any free agents.
I don't think Zimmer's the change they need. Zimmer, as much as, like, there were people in the chat today, like, jumping up and down about the fact that they've elevated Zimmer to the officially to the active roster, and he got owned a lot in that football game. Yes, there's a couple things he did, but he kind of got owned, and it's almost like that's what we do as Bills fans. Somebody on the bench has got to be better. Yay, that guy! And it's like, okay, like it wasn't. I don't know, man. So I don't know. Yeah. So we got to do this better. Block and tackle. My God, dude. Like, for real. Like, the amount of times Edwards-Helaire stepped out of an arm tackle in that football game. He didn't get tackled by the first person once until the fourth quarter. Like, you want to talk about basic fundamental football is what they're missing, or what they were missing in that Monday night game. We're not supposed to be talking about the Chiefs. We're supposed to be talking about the Jets, by the way. Josh Allen's stat line is rolling at the bottom of the screen. Would love to know what you guys think. Does Josh Allen have a rebound game? Is he back to form? Where is the mean? Where is the median? Where is the average Josh? So we've seen high Josh Allen. I don't think we've seen ceiling Josh Allen. We've seen high Josh Allen. We've seen down floor Josh Allen. We've seen step back Josh Allen against the Chiefs. Where do we think he's going to end up this week?
Well, this is the week that you said we would kind of know who Josh is, right?
Week eight.
Oh, week 8. Yeah, okay, so we still got a couple.
We're close.
Well, what I'm expecting is almost a repeat of week 1. I want to see Josh come out 300 yards, give or take 15 either way. So 315 or 228, or 285.
Yeah.
2 touchdowns in the air, 1 or 2 on the ground. Like I want him to come out and show I am the best football player on this field for either team.
I would agree. I was Muhammad, who hasn't been in the chat in a couple weeks, actually was DMing me today, and he was asking me what Josh Allen I thought we were going to see this weekend, and he threw a couple different out there, a couple different thoughts. And for me, I very much kind of resonated with one of them that he had, which was 318 yards, and he had 5 touchdowns, so 4 throwing, 1 rushing. And I think that's probably what we're going to get. I don't think this game is going to be one where Josh is going to throw for 400 yards. But I think mean Josh Allen, MEAN, meaning the average Josh Allen, is probably in that 290 to 310 range. It's kind of like the Josh Allen we're going to have if they go back to the offense of who we were. So like they became this, like, this is who we are. This is our personality. This is who we are on offense. And they deviated from it completely in the last 2 games. If they go back to that, they go back to who we are and do who we are things, I think 310, 318, 4 touchdowns through the air and one rushing is probably a good number. So thoughts?
No, I'm with you. I think, again, I just think that however he comes out, I just think he needs to come out and dominate. So, I agree. However, and I see a lot of good stats in the comments too.
Oh, yeah,
the one that you just, not this one, but the one prior to, the only reason why I'm not happy with that one, the percentage.
Oh
yeah, I'm not. No, Eric's that 20 for 32. I'm not happy with that percentage. I think Josh at this point, I don't want to see Josh drop below 63% passing.
Yeah, I was so, man, I wanted to, if I could have climbed through my television and strangled Troy Aikman and Joe Buck when they were just going on. And then freaking Terry Bradshaw, who has a career completion percentage of 50, calling Josh Allen inaccurate. It's like, check yourself, bro. Like, for real, check yourself. Like, just crazy. This is what it's about, Albert. Smash, hump that like button, jump all over that like button. We got 192 people up in here. Jump on it. What were you about to say?
No, I said on a different pod last night and I'm like, Bradshaw was just lucky to play in an era where, like, you didn't really have to throw the football, so it didn't matter. Right. Like that was the defensive time and the running the ball time.
Right.
He's been done for me for a long time. I haven't paid attention to Bradshaw in years.
So Rico, I want to talk about this. I feel the run game will be featured more this game. I think Dable will make it a point to showcase both his backs. Not sure I like the game plan if it's forced. The problem that I have with this is the fact that every time the Bills were supposed to run the football with Dable, they haven't. And every time they've tried to run the football, it hasn't worked. For me, this is a legit prolific passing offense. They have the guns, the weapons, and the commander to go out there and do. I'm not saying they're the greatest show on turf. Don't get me wrong, but they have the ability to go out and do greatest show on turf things. Just go out there and do what you're supposed to do. Throw the ball around the yard and bury them in the ground and pray to God the defense shows up. Thoughts? Do you agree?
I don't know. I don't know, Joe. Honestly, at this point, I just need to see Sunday, and I need it to be what it should be. Like at this point, and it's I know it's bad. We're doing a live show, and I'm speechless about this.
We have gone from me saying on my podcast, and I think I said it on the Hump Day Hotline before the Titans game, that I'm, for the first time in my life, confident. We're going into a game against the Titans, who were 4-0 or 3-0 at the time. They were, a playoff team last year. I'm confident that this football team can beat a playoff team. Like, I'm confident that they can beat a good team. Like, I'm not worried. Like, yes, anything could happen, but I know what I've seen. I believe in what I've seen. The Bills can beat. I'm confident they can beat the Titans. 2 weeks later, we're concerned as to whether or not they can, like, come out and put a solid game against the Jets, who very well likely might go 0-16 this year. Think about that. Think
Well, I'm
about
not
that for a minute.
concerned. I'm not concerned. The thing is, I guess I'm just so disappointed from the last 2 games that like the confidence that I would normally be exuding. Like normally I'll just be, no, man, come on, and even
Yep,
during the
yep.
games, you're texting me and you're like,
Once,
you're like, spent, and I'm
once.
like, Joe,
It happened once
yeah, because you don't text me anymore. But
for good
but,
reason.
but it's like, I'm still confident. But after seeing that, it's just like, you guys just disappointed me. So and this, it's like it takes forever to build trust. And like you just said earlier, you can destroy it immediately. And we're starting to trust them, and we're starting to, we talking tough. We're saying it with our chest
Yeah,
every week
yeah.
when we talking to people. And then you come out and you do this 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
I just can't sit here and be like, oh yeah, we're gonna come out and down. I can't today.
This is a great question. Tim Stook, Joe, he's talking to me. Does that work in Buffalo? He's talking about being a prolific, high scoring offense in the weather in November, December, and hopefully January. This is the problem with the narrative that came off this football game against the Chiefs. Well, the weather was bad and it was kind of raining. First of all, there was the one shot that you alluded to in your podcast where you could see the rain coming down. 90% of that game, I live in Buffalo. I live 10 minutes from the stadium. It was misting outside, barely. Like it was just kind of foggy and weird outside. Need I remind everybody that's listening to me, Josh Allen threw 400 yards against the Dolphins in the rain. It was raining in that football game.
Very true. And Miami rain is different than Buffalo rain.
Correct. So I don't think so. Now we're talking about the cold. Well, we've seen football teams, quarterbacks, fantasy points for quarterbacks don't go down in the wintertime when they play outside. They still throw touchdowns. They still throw for 3. Brett Favre was a machine. Aaron Rodgers is a machine in the winter. And Josh Allen has one of those arms. So no, I don't believe the weather hype thing. Wind is a problem. Wind can be an issue, but that's why Josh Allen, that's why we went and got the kid with the strongest arm in football ever. Like that's why we got him. So Florida rain. I lived there for a long time. It ain't no joke.
It's wild, man.
Let's do this. Let's transition to do we want to take score predictions? Probably not. We don't need to. We're all pretty much confident the Bills are going to beat the Jets. We've got about 15 minutes left, 12 minutes left. Let's take questions. So I'm going to do my best to drive. So if you've got questions for myself or Jay Spence in the last couple minutes,
I want to correct Chris real quick. He said Nate Peterman won the Blizzard game in 2017. It wasn't Nate Peterman.
I don't remember.
I was at that snow game. It wasn't Nate Peterman. We actually had our emergency quarterback playing that game.
Brad Smith?
No. It'll be in the comments, I'm sure, quick, but it wasn't Nate Peterman that won that game. That was the game that Shady won. It was the snow game. It was December 10th. I'll never forget. It was my grandmother's birthday.
Against the Colts?
Yeah, it wasn't Peterman. He may have started, but he didn't win the game for us. Webb, yeah, I knew it would be in the comments.
Oh, it was Webb, yeah.
Webb,
Shady ran in the winning touchdown in like whatever it was, 8 inches or 9 inches of snow.
Joe Webb threw a great pass in the snow that nobody could see. That's right. That was caught.
That was that may have been the best game McKelvin ever played for us.
It probably was.
Kelvin Benjamin, my bad. Yeah, I had it named backwards, my bad. Randy Prokes said, I'm with Joe. We had great success passing, so go with it as your offensive philosophy. Let's change it. Let's get our identity and perfect it in the playoffs. I just don't, if this is what you got, I mean, they're doing it on defense. They're not changing the game plan really on defense. They're dancing with the one they brought. So why not just dance with the one you brought on offense? So, dude, I'm loving some of these like predictions, 87-21. Lone Wolf, man, I don't know what you're smoking.
If it's 17-16, I promise you do not want to hear the code of conduct next Tuesday.
That's right.
I promise you do not want to hear the code of conduct.
Here we go. Good question from Brendan. Joe, after 2 ugly losses, how far do you think this team can actually go? What does your gut tell you? So that's where I'm at. So to me, this is a Bills fan knee-jerk question, right? For all intents and purposes, the last 2 games have looked bad. I don't know which one to chalk up to what. The reality is the Bills are 4-2. They still have some games on the schedule. I believe the Bills are going to sweep the AFC East. That's 6 wins right there. You need 4 more. To basically win the division. So they're playoff bound. The goal is to win the division and to win a playoff game. That is the goal in 2020. Where the goal is not, the goal is always to win the Super Bowl, but our expectations are to win the division and win a playoff game. I think this football team can do it. They're just going to have to put some pieces in place and get some things figured out. What are your expectations? What does your gut tell you?
I mean, I'm still where I was at the beginning of the year. I think we had 2 bad games. If you stretch it out and it wasn't back to back, so say we lost week 2 and then we lost again week 8,
Mm-hmm.
like, I don't think everybody would be so pissed off. I get that it's recency bias. It was the last 2 weeks, and it feels good when you got 4 wins in a row, and then it feels really bad when you have 2 losses. So it's just the emotion of being a fan and loving your team. But I still think that this is a very good team. I still think that I believe in Coach Frazier and Sean McDermott. They're going to fix the defense.
Agreed.
I believe in the players that we have. I think once we get healthy, I think
Agreed.
Matt Milano is going to be a beast like he's been. I think Tremaine Edmonds, when he and Matt Milano are together, there's something to watch. It's fun to watch those 2 guys.
Do they need to fix the scheme on defense even when Milano gets back? Do they need to stop with this 2 linebacker nickel set?
I don't like the zone. I don't like zone at all.
There's just something wrong. It's just not the defense. It's not the defense it was last year. I don't know what's going on. Clearly there's some execution issues, but we need to get, as CR says, we need to get our defensive starters back.
Yeah.
Matt Milano, what a quandary, what a conundrum this franchise is going to be when it comes time to re-sign him, because he is clearly probably outside of Trey, the best player on this defense. The defense misses him horribly when he's not there. But how do you give that guy $12 million, $15 million a year when he plays 8 games out of the season? I just
don't start watching some college, see who we can draft.
Right. Tim asks, do you think injuries are the issue? Real question. We were fortunate last year with a few injuries.
I think so. And this is a good point. So the Bills, obviously now it's actually part of our, when we recruit players, like we have one of the best facilities and we have one of the best this and we best that. And, so it's actually a point that when we bring players in, like we can help you stay healthy. Like that's part of their pitch. Listen, it's not looking like that this year.
Yeah, that's not. So funny stuff. I just happened to look at my phone, and it was a while ago, but when I asked if that was the real Bruce Nolan, he texted me and he said, "Yes, this is the real me."
He put it in the chat too. Yeah, Bruce is awesome, man. I have people asking me, like last night, somebody asked me, was like, "Okay, so have you seen Bruce now? Like, is he like, who is he?" And I'm like, I'm not going to tell you who Bruce is. Like, what do you mean?
I don't know who he is. So
well, no, but since I've joined Rumblings, now they're like, hey, you're on Rumblings. Do you know who Bruce is now? Tell us who Bruce is. And I'm like, I'm not about to get him in trouble with the FBI. Not me.
I don't know that I've seen anything about this, Rico. So Rico, I appreciate this comment, but I don't know that I've seen any more. I don't know that I've seen more love for Milano over Edmonds from this staff. Do you?
I've seen it from fans, but
fans,
staff.
Sure.
I think they look at Edmonds like he's supposed to be Josh Allen on defense.
He may have been responding to somebody else, and I just missed it. That's the hard part about these these comments going as fast as they go, because they haul, man. They truck. They absolutely truck. So. What's up, Robbie? It's good to see you in the house tonight. Everybody go listen to Robbie's Let's Talk 716 Sports podcast. I've been a guest on it, as has Jay Spence. And Robbie, I'm going to do this for you. Rico, you're in the room. Robbie wants to interview you. So he's been asking me to get a hold of you for a couple weeks now. So reach out to Robbie and jump on his show, because Robbie's a good dude. Bruce, where'd that go? That's not the one I wanted. Bruce is probably a Mongolian or something. That's amazing. So seems like we're wrapping up a little bit here. A couple more minutes left. Any questions? Get us some questions. What's a good topic that I could throw out there for them to ask questions about? Because clearly this Jets game just seems like static. It's like white noise to me. I don't know what to make of it. Like,
again, I just think that everybody is so frustrated with the last 2 games that it's tough to look forward, because we're so disappointed from the last 2 weeks. So, man.
This is a great point. Juan Castillo, we should have kept last year's defense intact, kind of like our offense played out. Keep everyone, just add a few pieces. What are your thoughts on that? Because I have a comment.
Well, I feel like that's what they did. I mean, I know we let Phillips walk and we let Lawson walk, and then we had Zoe retire. But for the most part, like it was like, I think it was something like 87% of our defense returned.
Yeah,
I got to look at the exact number, but it was high 80s.
Well, we're just talking about the 2. So we're talking about, obviously, Jordan Phillips and Shaq Lawson. And I was not a fan of keeping Shaq Lawson. I wanted to keep Jordan Phillips. And I keep bringing it up because it's relevant to everything we've talked about tonight. So Pat and I talked about this last night too. And he said there's no way in the world you re-sign those 2 guys. Like you can't, Bean just can't do it. And I just said, and this is ridiculous, but I just said, to play devil's advocate, which you and I do well together, I said, well, what if they don't make the playoffs? Then was it worth it? Like, if the defense changed so much from just those 2 guys being gone, Was it worth re-signing him at whatever the number was? The only answer is yes. Now, I believe the Bills are going to make the playoffs, but this defense looks completely different without them. Like, it's noticeable. And I can't believe I even say that or believe that. It's either scheme or it's those two guys and Star. Clearly, the three of them together, right? Star's in there too.
I think we miss him more than the two guys you named.
How much though? And I've gotten lambasted for this. How do you, like Aaron Quinn blew me up? Like, how can you miss a guy that played 50% of the snaps this much?
We do. We do, man. Like, you saw it last or Monday with the Chiefs, man. There's no, granted, we didn't have a great run defense by any means, but that didn't happen.
Yeah. Chris Yenke asks you, here's a question for you guys. I'm giving it to you. Are Bills fans getting spoiled by winning and high expectations? I think Bills fans all of a sudden have forgotten decades of losing.
I do, Chris. I agree with you there. I think that we've gotten to taste a little bit of success, so it's like now all of a sudden it's like, okay, we're not the Bills of yesterday, which is good. I've been begging fans to stop being so afraid. Like, hey, we're not the same team. But then once we hit a bump in the road, we revert back to that really quickly, and it's like, oh, okay, we suck again. What's that meme? Oh, we suck again. And actually, so Allie just hit me up, and she said that Clemson and LSU have two dope linebackers. Might need to be checking those out since we're talking about Milano with the extension and even talking about what is going right or not going right with Tremaine Edmonds
and AJ Klein.
He has to go.
And every other linebacker that we have. Charles says
AJ Klein has to go. Go ahead.
You think McDermott is still destined to be coach of the year if he gets his team playing start playing better? I think he is. I think
if this team plays better and if the defense resembles anything from last year. Anything from last year, and then the offense continues to play like this, Sean McDermott is going to be coach of the year. I can't see too many people, I can't.
Yeah. I love this question. Maurice asks, with Brown obviously battling an injury, do you feel Gabe Davis is ready to hold the fort down? What prediction did I make? Do you remember about Gabe Davis before the season started?
That he was going to basically overtake his spot.
Second, he would be the second receiver, and he looks the part. He brings a different element of the game as a receiver to this offense than Brown does. But that's not a diss on Brown. Like, they're going to bench Brown. I just think he's going to get more percentage of the snaps than Brown is by the end of the season. I think Gabe Davis is legit. Like, I think that kid is going to be here for a very long time.
I agree.
Joseph, thank you for the super chat. Realistically speaking, we have nothing to worry about. We're not even halfway through the season. Do you all remember how suspect this team was in 2019? I'm guessing that's what he's saying, right? How suspect? Oh yes,
suspect last year though.
Oh yes, I remember. There was times. I mean, we lost to the freaking Browns, dude. Like,
yeah, but again,
there was a couple games where it was like there was a stretch there. It was like, what is going on?
Well, listen, we're saying that now because we know what last season was. When we lost to the Browns, people thought last season. Same thing about the Cowboys. Going into last season, people thought the Browns were going to be like serious Super Bowl contenders in the AFC.
We played the Browns like week 8 or week 10. They had the worst rush defense in the league, and like we went out there and threw the ball 41 times and lost. Like,
okay, I keep things realistic. When you look at teams with players, like that team has talent, man. Like, and I get it. They did, just like I'm saying about the Jets this week. They don't have talent like they did last year on the Browns, but they're professionals. And any week, a team who normally you feel like is trash can come out and win. We've been that team.
Yeah.
We've ruined chances for a lot of teams, either making the playoffs, seeding for the playoffs. So it's like, it's just amazing that we've been this team for so long, and we write off all these other teams. The Browns are bad, but they have good, like really, really good talent.
Yeah, we're getting close to being done. Eric, this is a great question. What does the team look for this week on both on offense and defense for a lowly team? Stop everything and score on every possession. That's where I'm at, and that's what I said. You line up and you beat the guy across the line of scrimmage, and you score every chance you get. Like, you don't come out and try to win by 3 points. Yeah. McDermott looked totally pissed after the Chiefs game. He should. It's his fault they lost.
He should,
in my opinion. Like, if you approve that game plan, like you should be upset. So there's something I wanted to say. Oh, here's what I wanted to say. So the man, you're friends with the man, or becoming friends with the man. How much does this defense miss Lorenzo and his leadership?
A lot. A lot. Just like to answer quickly. Yeah. They miss him a ton. I'm hoping that everybody, including me and whoever else is in his ear, I'm hoping that it's like, you really, we missed you, man. Come back. I'm hoping that he's like, you know what, maybe. But listen, he's enjoying time as a father. He's enjoying time. He's been, I don't know if everybody knows, but he has his own podcast now, and he's doing a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So I do think that, come week 16, 15, if we need him, I think you can look to see number 57 back on the field. But as of right now, as much as I would love to have Zoe jump back on, man, I just don't personally see it happening.
Funny stuff.
I love Chris.
Ryan, the real Chris Janke. Ryan, you are the man. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you to everybody. So everybody, you are watching or have watched the Hump Day Hotline on the Buffalo Fanatics multicast network. I'm one of your hosts, Joe Miller. You can find me on Twitter at Joe Miller Wire. That is my co-host, Jay Spencer King. You can find him on Twitter at Jay Spencer King. Here's what's up. So we have gotten permission to do this cross-platform, which is very unique and not normal, not traditional, very we would say unprecedented cross-platform show. We've been given permission by the powers that be, all the owners that are out there, to continue this show through the end of the season. So stick with us. Stick around all the way through the playoffs to wherever the Bills kind of end up. But we're going to be here for you, and we're going to keep this train rolling, and then we're going to reassess and kind of see what next year brings us next offseason. I have one more super chat, but we do appreciate you guys. Before you go, jump on that like button, hump that like button. Bruce Nolan is a great show as always. I don't know if you knew this, like Nolan watches. Like there's a lot of closet guys that watch our show that never chime in. So it was cool to see. Yeah, it was cool to see Bruce chime in and Clayton Garrett chime in and everything else. So, Zach, thanks for the last super chat of the night. You think we are going to make any trades or free agency moves? If so, who? Jump on that one, and then we'll get out of here.
I don't know a who, and like this. So this is where I'm stuck. Like every year, it almost seems like, okay, this guy will be a perfect fit, and like you kind of have an idea of who the team might be targeting.
Mm-hmm.
Honest to God, I have no clue, because I was shocked when they were even interested in Le'Veon Bell.
So was I.
To be honest, I do think that something's going to happen, either a trade or I don't know who's in free agency that would be worth it. But
right,
man, I hope something happens.
Yeah. We love you guys. For Jay Spence and myself, we love you. We appreciate you guys tuning in and hanging out with us on this Wednesday evening. As always, go Bills.
Go Bills.
Love you guys.